Have you noticed your videos suddenly getting dropped? Barely any views, when you used to see hundreds or even thousands in the first day alone? I have. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Something feels off, not just with YouTube, but with the whole system that decides what gets seen and what disappears. At first you tell yourself it's just a bad upload, or timing, or maybe the thumbnail missed. But then it keeps happening. Video after video. Content you know would have performed before now barely registers. And that's when the question stops being about optimization and starts being about reality. What just happened to the algorithm? For a long time, YouTube felt predictable. Not easy, not forgiving, but predictable in a way that made effort feel rational. You could sense the system working behind the scenes. You uploaded a video, it entered a testing phase, it either found traction or it didn't. And over time, patterns emerged. You learned when to tighten an intro, when to slow down, when to cut silence, when to simplify an idea. You learned how the algorithm responded, not because it told you, but because it behaved consistently enough to study, and then something shifted. Views declined, impressions stalled. Videos that historically would have at least found a foothold simply disappeared. The most disturbing part wasn't the drop itself, but the absence of feedback. It felt less like rejection and more like erasure, as if the platform no longer noticed. Quietly, many creators ask the same question, usually alone, usually without drama. What just happened to the algorithm? The answer is not satisfying because nothing actually broke. The system did not malfunction. It was overwhelmed. For most of YouTube's life, the platform's growth was constrained by human limits. Creation required time, energy, motivation, vulnerability, and persistence. People had to care enough to show up on camera or behind a microphone. That cost filtered participation. It did not guarantee quality, but it ensured intent. The platform evolved around that assumption. The recommendation system, the monetization model, the social dynamics, all of it presumed that content creation carried a meaningful cost. Artificial intelligence removed that cost almost entirely. Content can now be generated endlessly, cheaply, and without personal stake. The result is not a gradual increase in supply, but a structural collapse of scarcity. Content is no longer abundant, it is infinite. And no algorithm built in an era of human constraint is equipped to evaluate infinity. The phrase AI slop gets thrown around casually, often with contempt, but it misses the deeper problem. This is not about laziness or lack of talent. It is about consequence. AI-generated content carries no personal downside. There is no reputation on the line, no experience being risked, no time investment that cannot be instantly replaced. If it fails, it is discarded. If it succeeds, it is replicated. The content itself may be coherent, informative, even well produced, but it is untethered. It exists without cost. And when cost disappears, value becomes difficult to detect. The algorithm does not understand authenticity, intent, or lived experience. It cannot sense care. It measures behavior. It measures watch time, click-through rates, pacing, consistency, and output frequency. AI content performs well on these metrics precisely because it was designed to. It is optimized for smooth consumption, predictable structure, and constant availability. From the system's perspective, this content is not a problem. It is an ideal input. The algorithm did not choose AI content because it is better. It chose it because it is easier to measure and easier to scale. Creators often personalize this shift, interpreting it as punishment or neglect, but the system has no awareness of individual effort. It responds to patterns, and the pattern now dominating the platform is volume without friction. This is not bias, it is inertia. The system is being fed more content than it can meaningfully differentiate, and in that environment, sameness becomes the default. The real damage emerges on the viewer side, long before creators feel it financially. Viewers do not track platform changes analytically. They experience atmosphere. Something begins to feel repetitive. Videos blur together. Voices become interchangeable. Thumbnails promise novelty, but the substance feels familiar within seconds. There is no clear reason to stop watching, but no clear reason to continue either. The platform shifts from discovery to endurance. Viewers scroll not because they are curious, but because they are hoping something will break the monotony. Often, nothing does. This kind of disengagement is subtle. It does not trigger anger or protest. It produces apathy. Viewers stop finishing videos. They stop clicking recommendations. They watch with half attention. And this, my friends, is the beginning of the end.